Hello, and welcome to my channel. If you are tuning in today, there's a good chance that you have somehow come across this opportunity known as the Blox. So, what is it? Is it right for you? We're going to talk about all of those things today. So, I'm going to kick it off with just a quick intro to me, just so you know kind of like my backstory and where I'm coming from with this perspective. We're going to talk about what is the Blox, is it a scam or not, who it's for, who it's not for, and how to get cast if you decide that this is going to be the experience for you. I actually have a little behind the scenes information into that, and we'll talk about that a little more into the video. But I am going to timestamp everything, so if there's something that you're more curious about or kind of specifically want to know, feel free to jump around. Otherwise, welcome. As I said, my name is Kat Hutchings, and I have been running an e-commerce online business for about 14 years now. I have been a contestant on the Blox. I was a contestant on season 10, which was filmed a year ago. So I am filming this video now for YouTube basically a year after I did that experience. So I will go ahead and provide links so you can see my season's episode. I'll even timestamp again some of the spots where I kind of like show up and talk about my business a little more. But really, I have been selling jewelry online, mostly on Etsy, and that's why I did the Blox experiences. I was looking for a way to kind of expand beyond Etsy and really start to scale and ramp up my company and make it kind of like an official brand, a known and established company. Like, this is who we're for, like this is the type of jewelry we make, this is why we make it. So we also, just as a part of that, we launched a new YouTube channel that kind of talks about my business. So if you'd like to check that out as well, again, mostly from the perspective that I feel like it's really helpful to see other actual businesses who have done the experience and kind of like what they've taken away. So since we've done the Blox, we've not only launched our own website, we've started our own podcast and kind of like YouTube series. We're sending out like Mindful Monday newsletters. All of the jewelry that I make focuses on intentionality. So it's like you pick a mindset that you want to focus on that day, and that's the piece of jewelry that you wear. So everything comes with like affirmation cards, and it's all about, again, just mindsets and affirmation and kind of like tapping into those goals and things that we have. So that's what my business does. Let's get into the Blox and what the Blox actually is. Now that you know, again, I've had experience, done the experience, this is kind of what you're going to be looking at. So if you decide to do the Blox, it's basically a week-long, I'm going to call it like a boot camp, but it is also a reality TV show, meaning the entire time that you're there, so you're going to be there for a week, you're going to fly into, again, right now when I'm filming this, they're filming it out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. That could totally change as they've been looking at, some other possible just expansion opportunities. But you'll fly into Tulsa, Oklahoma, where you will be there for the entire week. You'll get your own kind of like hotel room. You're going to be there with about 90 other entrepreneurs from all over the country. Again, that is how they're currently running it. Those groups could get bigger or smaller. Just kind of keep this in mind as I'm filming this video. I'm trying to give you the most up-to-date current information that I have, again, to just kind of help you make that decision. So while you're there, you're going to receive like different lessons and education about different topics for the day. So it's not only this really immersive, like I said, kind of like learning environment, but you're also surrounded by almost like 100 other entrepreneurs, again, from all over the country, all different industries. You're all eating together. Again, you have your own rooms, but you're pretty much around each other all the time throughout this experience. So you do the lessons and the education. Then you kind of take it back, you process it a little bit. You're going to be given kind of like prompts every day that you're then going to present to judges in smaller kind of like breakout groups, where the judges are going to score you on your presentation. But again, one of the coolest parts about the Blox is you get to have them consults with those judges, where you get to talk about your specific industry and that specific topic for the day and what things you're going to do to kind of like improve your business and continue to scale it. So after the week, they do tally up all the scores and they announce like a kind of like grand prize winner of the Blox. And that is all such a cool experience in and of itself. But again, I feel like it's mostly more about like the learning and the education that you're going to receive when you do the Blox. So Question number two, is the Blox a scam? I laugh. I don't laugh because, again, I understand there is a lot of crappy, scammy business education people claiming to be coaches and gurus and I'm going to make you a millionaire overnight kind of stuff out there. So I totally get the skepticism, especially because it is a little odd. A business reality TV show. What is this? Like, I've never heard of this, but I have. I got an ad about it or whatever, however you ran across it. The answer to that is no, it is not a scam. There is a price tag associated with doing the experience, and I think maybe that's what throws people off a little bit, but it is an actual event. The people that run it are phenomenal. I've met them, I've worked with them. The other entrepreneurs that are going to be there, also just phenomenal human beings. They do a really good job, I think, of casting really authentic, genuine, hardworking entrepreneurs. I think that makes a difference in the entire experience. So to answer the question, I don't think it's a scam. I don't know how you could perceive it as a scam. Like, I mean, you go, you pay the money, you go, you have the experience, you get the education. Like, it's all there, and it's all super relevant and helpful. I mean, I even saw like some people were posting in some comments and stuff saying that they thought it was just like another like MLM or like multi-level marketing thing. I don't get paid anything from the Blox to like make this video for you guys. I'm not like affiliated with them. I don't get commissions. Like, when I tell my friends about the experience, I don't get like, I don't have a referral link. Like, if you guys click my referral link and apply to be on the show, I get 10% of the price of that or whatever. Like, I tell people about it because it's genuinely, I think, one of the best business investments I've ever made into my business, on top of the fact that it was just a blast and I grew so much as a person from that experience. And on top of that, I know dozens and dozens of other entrepreneurs who have had that same experience from doing the Blox. Again, before we get into the who's it's for, I'll just say, like, the way I found out about the Blox is there's actually a lady here who runs a company. It's called the Organizer Chicks. But my best friend worked for her, one of my best friends in the area. And she was like, Kat, my boss is like just as crazy about business as you are. She's doing this like business video thing tonight. Do you want to come with me? And I was like, girl, you said business, I'm in. So we went, and it was actually her viewing party. So Amber was on, I can't remember if she was season 5 or season 6, and I hadn't met her at the time. Again, the lady that runs the Organizer Chicks, but she actually ended up, spoiler, if you haven't watched that season, sorry. She ended up winning her season, and the viewing party was just kind of like she made this video kind of like showing different pieces of her at the event and kind of like winning and everything that she learned from that. It was just kind of like this fun local event. But I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, like that looks so cool. I've been running a business for like over a decade now, and I still feel like there's so much I would love to learn and grow. And I asked her, I was like, hey, how was it? And she told me basically a lot of the same stuff I'm going to be telling you guys right now, that she was like, it was awesome. I love that experience. Like, hands down, do it. I recommend it to everyone. So that, again, that is some of my sentiments. So we're going to go into now, like, who is the Blox for? So I feel like the Blox works the best for businesses that are probably making under, if you haven't quite hit like 2 million a year, or even on the, I promise, like on the other completely end of that spectrum, if you are almost even like pre-revenue, the Blox is going to work for you. And you can be in any industry, any, kind of like vertical of different businesses. But as long as I think what's more important is like the kind of business that you have that this works best for. I mean, they do I'm obviously a product-based business. There's a ton of service-based businesses. There's a ton of solopreneurs. There's a ton of people that have like actual teams, small teams, even larger teams sometimes. There's nonprofits. Like, the education that they teach you really can, I feel like, be applied to any type of business model, which is something I think is a really big testament to kind of like what Wes and his team have built in this whole process, is just coming up with a curriculum that is so universal, but also like real. So as long as you are an entrepreneur, you own your own business, you're thinking of growing it, I think the Blox is a great option to help you do that, as well as you have to be the type of person that's going to be able to implement. If you want to pay that kind of money and just go and have this amazing experience and meet all kinds of cool entrepreneurs, great, do that. But really, the people that benefit the most are the kind of people that, because they give you a notebook when you go there. I have a whole notebook still that a year later, I have not implemented or had time to implement all the thoughts and ideas and things that I learned while I was there. Like, that's how much you're able to take away. So then it's up to you. Are you the kind of person that's actually going to be disciplined enough to like sit down and implement and do the hard stuff? Because again, like, let's move on. Okay, so who is this experience not for? This is not for people that are looking for a magic unicorn in your business. And again, I know this goes back to all of the gurus out there right now saying like, oh, just do what I do on Amazon and you're going to make millions of dollars. It's so easy. None of that is real. Like, that is the one that, like, the Blox and the education is real. It works, but it takes a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of dedication. Like, this is not stuff that you're just going to be able to go home and like overnight be like, oh, look, like, hey, my business is now like quadrupled in revenue. Like, it is a slow grind. I mean, do not get me wrong. There are absolutely experiences like that where you will go and you will have epiphanies. I mean, there's kind of like this Facebook group that you get to be a part of all the Bloxers. So we have thousands, that have done it season after season, where you get to collaborate and, share your wins and support each other and things like that. So there's tons of posts that does happen to people where literally they met someone there or one of the coaches, or someone said something, they had this epiphany of this idea that they implemented, and boom, like a couple weeks later, they have like this huge win and gain. Like, that's great, but that's not really like what I think I'm talking about. I'm saying, if you think you're going to just be able to hire a magic person or find this one magic formula that's going to just turn your business overnight into this huge success, like, that's not what the Blox is. It's not going to do that, but it is going to teach you like those steps to help you kind of get in there and grind it out. But you have to be willing to do that. So if that lights you up and you're excited about that and you're that kind of entrepreneur, I think the Blox is hand down for you. And if you're not, if you're fake, if you're looking for kind of like quick wins, probably not the right experience for you. There is also, like I said, there is a financial investment piece. It's, several $1,000s. And again, I don't want to say the amount now, not because it's like a secret or anything. It's just, I know that things change and I want to make sure I give accurate information, but it's a significant investment. Like, when I made that investment in my business, again, after the recommendation of my friend who had done it, that was like the biggest financial investment I had ever made into my business. I had never done any other kind of like conferences or accelerators or things like that. So that is definitely, and the reason part of the reason they do that is because there is something about the whole those who pay attention. I do think that's an important component, but I also think that some paying attention is worth more than others, meaning there are some experiences that you can pay for and that just aren't going to deliver the same kind of value. And I can just honestly attest and say, like, that was not my experience with the Blox. A year later, I'm still so happy I did it, not only because of, again, like the education and everything I received from it and what it's done for my business and getting that clarity around it, but I met some of the coolest humans on this planet, and my entrepreneurial support network is just phenomenal. Like, I don't want to sound like hokey, but when you do the Blox, there's something about that experience of being with that group of people for a week, submersed in this kind of like crunch of like having to pitch and think and learn, and you're in front of the cameras all the time. We kind of joke about it like it's a little bit of a trauma bonding experience, but you really do. I have yet to meet someone who's done the Blox that hasn't walked away and really felt that kind of like support from the community. And again, you're going to get out of it what you put in, but even if you're like a really introverted person or not, again, like a huge extroverted, people loving type individual, I still feel like you're able to walk away with some really valuable connections and continue those kind of like, it's not just like a one and done, I feel like, with the Blox. So the next thing I want to talk about, if you followed me to the end here, hopefully I've given you just a little more insider information. Again, because I know a lot of you probably just have seen a random ad on Facebook being like, hey, are you an entrepreneur and do you want to be on TV? Something along those lines. It is comforting to know that it, like, to actually see a real live human who has done this, who is implementing this. And you can see, like, my YouTube channel normally focuses on like helping other Etsy sellers. I've been doing this for years. You can see some of like my previous videos. I don't do, there was a while where I was doing kind of like Etsy coaching, and I decided to kind of stop doing that just because of a time perspective. I really wanted to focus on growing my jewelry company called Wonderlight Jewelry. But really, like, I'm a real, like, I'm not like I said, a sponsor or pay actor. You can follow my journal, you can follow my social media accounts and my email list, and you can go to my website and see me actually like building the plane as I'm flying it, so to speak. Like, this is I'm a small business. I have a team now of about 4 other women that work with me, but we are really trying to, again, scale and grow that to, I'd like to have like a 20 million exit in 7 years. It's kind of like my goal. So again, wherever you're at with your entrepreneurial journey, it could be big, it could be small, like whatever, that I feel like the Blox can be a great opportunity for you. So let's get into the how you get cast. So you've listened to this video, you've made it through. I actually had the really unique opportunity to be a casting director for several months for the Blox. So that's, again, that doesn't happen with everyone that does the Blox. They've had thousands of people go through kind of like this Blox experience. They reached out and asked if I would want to do that. I think maybe just because they knew I kind of like had some broadcasting background. I really love connecting with entrepreneurs. They know that's something that lights me up. And yeah, so I had that opportunity where I would take some of those phone calls. So when you apply online, you do kind of like a written application, there's some video application, those all get vetted and filtered. And so finally, like, one of the final stages is you do a casting call with one of the casting directors. I think there's probably maybe around like 20-ish different casting directors right now. Again, some are like me, some are just small businesses that have done the Blox and they do casting directing kind of like on the side. Some of them are full-time casting directors where that's like all they do is cast people for the Blox. But I can tell you just a little insider information about kind of like, I know stuff that I looked for as a casting director and some of the things that universally the Blox is kind of like looking for. So obviously, if you want to get cast, one of the best ways to do that is to make sure you actually watch some episodes and seasons and understand what the Blox is and what you're signing up for. And even more importantly, like, why you want to do this. Like, we want to cast people that recognize like what an amazing opportunity this is for them as well as their business. So it's getting to the point now, there are like, and I can't remember exact statistics, but there's a significant percentage of people that, one, they don't even make it past the video process. Two, like, if you make it to that casting phone call, like, take that seriously. That means you're kind of like in that final running of, again, they're looking for people that it's gonna be a fit for both of us. We want to cast people that we feel like are gonna have a positive experience with it, and vice versa. Like, we want you to join the Blox only if you feel like if it's the right place for you in your business. Like, if you feel like you can't make that financial commitment right now for whatever reason, like, that's okay. Maybe give it a couple years and come back and apply then. One of the things I also made sure I looked for when doing casting, and again, we have kind of like a whole scoring rubric that I won't go into too much, kind of like private proprietary information, but they do want to make sure that you are going to be okay on camera, that you are, and again, that does not mean you need to be like a professional and complete like extrovert, but they want to make sure that you're not going to completely pass out, because that is, again, just a big part of the experience. I think another thing that we really look for when doing those casting calls is just authenticity. Like, I can promise you, I care way less about how your business is actually doing as opposed to you just showing up in your authentic self. Because again, you're going to get the most out of that experience, and it's going to be better for the people watching the show and the people, again, in your group that you're working with. Like, everyone wants to be around, I feel like, real, as real as we can be. We've all got, like, nobody's perfect. We're all trying to present kind of like certain pieces of ourselves to the world and be appreciated for those. But like, don't try to fluff your numbers. Don't try to like make your business seem like it's this big juggernaut thing. Like, really, I want to cast people that need the blocks. And if I'm here, like, if you tell me like, hey, I'm actually struggling right now in this area, I can be like, oh, like, I don't view that as a bad thing and I deduct points from you. It's more like, that's awesome. I would love for the blocks to be able to help you in that piece of your business. So I feel like just being authentic, making sure you actually show up to the call, be honest about kind of like where you're at, where the business is at. Also, again, just making sure that you actually want to be on the show. And it's okay, like, if you're still unsure, you can use that casting call as almost like your own vetting process and feel free to ask your casting director different questions or things that you might have. As well as if you do have questions, again, my YouTube channel is not huge. I would love to answer those in the comments. So feel free to leave any of those questions that you guys might have, and I will answer those to the best of my ability. Again, I'm not like an official Blox representative. These are all just my personal opinions and thoughts as someone who has done the experience. But I do think it's a really special little piece. What do they call it? The way Wes described it once when he was doing one of his shows is kind of like an entrepreneur heaven. And if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, I think that the Blox might be a good experience for you. Is it going to be for everyone? No, it's not. And that's okay. And that's why, like, I always say, like, my biggest advice to everyone in life, in business, is to just lean into your own kind of like intuition and understanding. And if you feel like you're hearing, even like from my video today, from other stuff you've seen, you might be like, you know what? I don't think that's for me. That's great. Like, it's probably not, but I can promise you there are hundreds and almost like thousands now at this point of entrepreneurs who can kind of like testify to the Blox and what it has done for them and the kind of experience and education they've received. So again, hopefully you found this video helpful. My name's Kat Hutchings. I am the founder of Wonderlight Jewelry. I did the Blox about a year ago on season 10. Feel free to check it out. Let me know if you guys have any other questions in the comments. And otherwise, even if you do get cast and you found this video helpful or you decide to do the experience, I love connecting with other Bloxers and hearing about you and your business. So feel free to reach out to me that way. You can find me on Instagram, or like I said, even just in the comments here on this YouTube video. So hope you guys found this helpful. And again, thanks so much for watching, and good luck with your applications or whatever other endeavors you decide to do with your entrepreneurial business. See you later.